All the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I listened to your interview with Johnny Hughes of 3FM. I've listened to the likes of Omar Standa, Bernard Avle. I mean, all the media guys who came, those who had the opportunity to ask questions and those who didn't have the opportunity. And you can see that the media, and by extension, the people of this country, were starving for an opportunity like this to engage with their leaders. And you see, leaders must be transparent. Leaders must be accountable. And that is what President Mahama stands for. What he did was historic. What he did was unprecedented, because I have never seen an opposition leader engage the media in the manner he did, share his vision, and open himself up for close to 3 hours of questions, more than 2.5 hours. At the point, the moderator, was tired, and he was not tired. He was ready to go. I had to tell him that, it's getting to 11 p.m. You know, that is how open the man is. And like you said, he demonstrated command over the issues. He demonstrated depth. He demonstrated that he understands the problems confronting us, and he has that transformational vision that this nation needs. He has the vision to reset our country. The institutional memory was on point. His cognitive ability to think on his feet and answer questions without calling for the intervention of any former appointee or official of his was just spot on. And I want to salute President Mahama for doing this, not for the NDC, but for the entire nation. This is what we expect from our leaders. But you see, there were certain key takeaways, which for me, I know you have your takeaways. I have my takeaways. Kofi may have his own takeaways. But for me, some of the things that stood out for me was his clear and definite promise to scrap certain nuisance taxes to ameliorate the plight of Ghanaians. Because, Samson, the reality in our country today is that cost of living has become increasingly unbearable for the vast majority of our people. Businesses are collapsing. Some are relocating to neighboring countries. Citizens are suffering, importers, traders. And one of the contributing factors for that unbearable cost of living and cost of doing business in the country is the issue of excessive taxation. We were promised by the MPP that they were going to move us from taxation to production. Yet we have seen myriads of taxes being heaped on us. And that is why I was excited.
They made that promise when they didn't expect that there would be COVID. They didn't expect that there would be Ukraine. They didn't expect all these things.
They made that promise when they knew very well that in the management of an economy, there can be endogenous and exogenous shocks. It will be...
Okay, so quickly go to your takeaways.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was very excited when President Mahama stated that he was going to scrap the COVID levy. That was the first time he was making that bold declaration, because that tax simply doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that after our government had access to over $6 billion in COVID inflows and misappropriated those funds, distributed it to their party apparatchiks, something that Felicia Tete, their Northern Regional Vice Chairperson, has actually confessed to, they would turn around and impose a COVID levy on us. President Mahama says he will scrap it. He retreated his promise to scrap the obnoxious e-levy, which according to him doesn't make sense, and his promise to scrap the 10% betting levy. And I believe that if we give him the chance, at least these taxes and many more which will be contained in our manifesto will be scrapped to reduce the cost of doing business and the cost of living in this country. The second takeaway for me was his emphatic declaration and promise not to allow any member of his government to purchase a state asset. That is a promise that none of the leading political parties in this country has ever made.
So that's like Saul turned to Paul, right?
Of course.
Because he's superintendent over an administration where these acquisitions have been going on.
That's the benefit of experience. Because you see, when you get opportunity to serve, Samson, you've been hosting this program for years. And those who watch you will tell you that you've been improving. There are things that you used to do 2 years ago that you don't do today. That is, life is progressive. And when you get opportunity to serve your people and you go and sit back and look at your service, what happened, the laws and everything, you reflect and you see areas for improvement.
So that's why is it just a promise or it's along the lines of what Okudzeto is pursuing for a law that bans public officials from acquiring state property?
You see, you don't fight corruption and you don't fight some of these things through laws per se. There are many laws in this country which don't get implemented because the political will is not there. What President Mahama has said is about his political will to ensure that law or no law, you can't be a member of my government and buy state. Look at our state lands today. You were talking about the parks and gardens land at cantonments, the one at Wa, they are all gone. They've been sold. The Bostal Institute land at Roman Ridge, gone. The prisons land around the Dankwa Circle, gone. So we can't continue on that path. And he says, I'm telling you, you can hold me accountable. I will not allow my officials, my appointees to do that. He went on to say that he will not even allow any appointee of his to engage in mining, not illegal mining. Although mining is legal, he says that if you are an appointee, you're supposed to help me fight the canker of illegal mining. And once you are involved in mining, the laws cannot be implemented the way they ought. And so if you want to do mining, no problem, go and do your mining. You have no place in my government. Something. Again, his position on the cathedral scam. A cathedral built on the altar of lies. A cathedral that we were told that no public funds will be invested in. But today we know from government's own records presented to Parliament that close to $1 billion cedis, equivalent to $58 million, has been sunk in with nothing to show. The only thing they have to show is the biggest pit in the whole world. And today, the revered men of God who were on that board of trustees have all resigned and are calling for a forensic audit.
Not all.
Most of them, well, it depends on my definition of revere, right? I think that the revere ones have resigned and they are calling for a forensic audit. And President Mahama says, I will make sure that audit happens. Anyone found culpable will be prosecuted and stolen funds retrieved. Then, on corruption, you see, you know that for more than 4 years now, or about 4 years now, the president of this country and his vice have refused to engage the media. They've been running away from the media. But the last time they engaged the media, the president came and read a long speech. And after that, limited the number of questions he was going to take. And you saw persons who were deemed to be critical of the government were never called. We allowed anybody and everybody who time could allow to ask a question to ask their questions. Some of the questions were not palatable to the ears of NDC members. But look at the tolerance of President Mahama, his composure. This question about Airbus. He said, look, my life is an open book. My record is there for everybody to see. If I have done anything wrong, prosecute me.
Be careful what you say. The OSP says he's going to issue directions.
And I'm excited about it.
You don't know what it is.
No, I'm excited because you see the OSP, he has a duty, he has a mandate. This is something that Martin Amidu started. He should come out with his directives and any preliminary findings he has made.
We have information that Martin Amidu actually did nothing when he said he had started it. It is the new Kisejabin regime that has activated all the international.
That is great. That is great.
Access to be able to do an investigation.
We want to know the truth. President Mahama himself wants that matter investigated because he knows that his hands are clean. The matter itself, which unraveled in UK, did not have his name anywhere in the records. So what you had were just rumor mongering and people making false allegations.
All right.
And he said that, look, you said that I owned hotels in Dubai. Where is the evidence? You recall what the then opposition leader, now President Akufo-Addo, said about President Mahama then. He told him that he had used $10 million to print presidential diaries. The MPP said that Mahama was a thief. He had inflated the cost of the Ridge Hospital. You discussed it here. Malik Kweku Bako was the one who actually had to defend John Mahama. Their own ranking member at the time had told me
we defended him.
Yes,
those projects are not inflated.
Yeah.
These guys who accused President Mahama have been in office for close to 8 years. Not a scintilla of evidence of wrongdoing has been established against Mahama. He remains squeaky clean. So he answered that question. But for me, the takeaway was his promise that, look, there will not be any further or no show of leniency. It cannot be business as usual. People are yearning for accountability and justice, and that nobody will be spared. Prosecutions will go on. be it MPP, and if you engage in corruption, you'll be prosecuted.
Take a breather there. Take a breather there.
But I wanted to land on
take a breather there.
Just one.
Just one. Then you move.
There had been a lot of falsehood about what President Mahama intends to do about free SHS. People just concocting lies.
Is it falsehood, or we are just playing back his own words to him?
Falsehood.
The NDC.
Which words were they playing back when they said that President Mahama will cancel free SHS? The man who launched
not about cancelling. Do you remember what Fifi Kwete said about it?
No, but
how that was all like.
Do you remember what Ken Ofori-Atta said about free SHS? Individuals in the political party
repeated what we said.
Right? The most important thing is about the position of that corporate entity called NDC and his leader, John Mahama. And he has been consistent. He launched it. We actually contemplated, conceived, captured it at Article 25B of the 1992 Constitution. We started the implementation. Check the 2016 mid-year budget review. With 320,000 day students benefiting and a plan to expand coverage to cover 120,000 boarding students. And the man says, I will not cancel it. It has come to stay. I'm only coming to improve it and make it better. And he has given you the further and better particulars about how you will make it better. Abolish the double track, provide a dedicated source of funding, decentralize feeding, improve on quality, provide the teachers and the schools with the needed facilities. That is what he stands for.
There are discerning Ghanaians who are asking questions whether at one point the NDC or President Mahama will pause and say, Akufo-Addo, you did well in the bold fashion with which you took this on.
Which means what?
Even though I started it progressively, you took it on globally, universally. And that is what we have. We want to improve it. And not talk as if...
But no NDC person has criticized President Akufo-Addo for taking on or for implementing free SHS to cover all boarding students.
You don't hear anybody giving him the credit he's due.
Oh, many NDC people, even me.
So you hold on.
Record,
yes, Dennis.
who have said that by continuing that laudable policy that John Mahama started.
Okay, thank you.
He did the right thing.
Thank you. Yes.